Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at a home automation product. What we're looking at is this white box here. This is intended for doorbell automation, to be able to monitor anytime your doorbell is depressed. So you can create home automations based on your doorbell using a Raspberry Pi and an open source program called Home Assistant. And so this tool, if you will, is from the company that is known as Firefly Electronix. So in the box you get the doorbell device, and they also provide you some instructions here. There is a little card that has a QR code with the instructions to go to their website. They even give you a sticker with their logo on it. I know a lot of people like stickers. Personally, I'm not into stickers. And they also provide you a very short length of extra doorbell wire to be able to wire this into your doorbell. And so there's even a QR code on the back. And this is revision B as of July 2020. And so then on the side of this is a plastic case. And so as we look at the device here, we've got a spot here for a battery. Now this is not a AA battery that I guess I would have expected. This uses a size 1, 2, 3-volt lithium ion battery. You can get these in the Energizer variety or Duracell. A little bit of an obscure battery. It's 3 volts as opposed to the 1.5 volts you get out of a AA. In my opinion, if they would have went with 2 AA's, that would have made this a little bit nicer and maybe a little bit narrower, because these are just a little bit fatter than a AA battery. And then on the board here, we've got a button here we can hold down. This will create an ad hoc Wi-Fi network to connect to with your phone, to then be able to put in the password for your home Wi-Fi network to connect this to that. And then on the end here, there is a little terminal block that you push in the wires for your doorbell to then wire this in series with your doorbell. Hence why they give you the extra little bit of wire. It would have been nice if out of the box they would have went ahead and pre-stripped both ends of this wire. They did not. But I think they probably assume that if you're smart enough to know how to do this, you probably know how to use wire strippers and probably have them and are somewhat handy. I don't think they're catering towards an audience of individuals that lack a certain baseline level of skill. What I will say I think is interesting is the little connection block over here is very narrow. I was expecting, especially given how much space there is with this case, a larger terminal block with a couple little screw connections that you might be able to tighten down or thumb depress to remove. I'm not sure why they went with such a small connection there. But then with this box, you can see there's a couple holes on the side that then we need to either place this. There's some options. You could place this inside your doorbell, around your doorbell. You might be able to also place this between your doorbell and the transformer, depending on where your transformer is. So you've got quite a few options on where to place this. In my case, what I opted to do is also to replace my door chime unit. And so I also picked up from Bell NuTone, or maybe it's just NuTone now, a different door chime. And so this door chime is a decorative door chime, but is larger in internal size to hopefully allow this to mount. And so this has a dental crown molding style look to it with a large plastic cover. The benefit of that is it provides a lot of extra space for this device, hopefully. And it also will provide space if I want to add any other doorbell accessories in here. Inside this brown paper bag should be the actual mechanism of the door chime itself, which is what we have here. And so this has the double plungers on it, a couple mounting screws, and it looks like, based on the shipping, this one chime apparently got dislodged in shipping. We'll push that back on. Hopefully that'll work. And so this will wire up like a standard doorbell or door chime. Comes with the mounting screws. And this should have the single ding and the double ding dong, as this has up here at the transformer, front, rear, and incoming for for the front push button and the rear push button. Lots of space here, but then relative to this, you can see, well, this hopefully provides enough extra space where I can place this device off to the side. I hope I can make this work. I'll have to fidget and figure out how I can make this work, but this should provide me enough space. I may have to trim this. We'll see. For what it's going to take to be able to mount that integration. And so the next step is going to be to go ahead and take one of my 123 lithium-ion batteries, and we're going to place this into the device, and that should bring it to life. And then I'm going to press down on the config button for a few seconds. There we go. We got the light there. It is flashing. And then now on my phone, there's a Firefly network here that it was able to find. I'm going to connect to that. And then now it's going to connect. And then now hopefully this will take me to the page. And then here is the page that it comes up with. So we got a few options here. We can update it. We can go to the About page. And so this by default came up with 192.168.4.1, which is interesting because the documentation online suggested it would go to 192.168.244.1. I'm not sure that matters, but at least it gave me a quick one-tap access to get there. And it is on version 1.3 of the software, which is the latest version according to their GitHub site as of July 2020. And so if I had, if there was an update available, I could just simply upload the file here and then flash the firmware upgrade. But then in this case here, I'm going to go to Configure Device. Hopefully it'll let me do that. There we go. And then now I can tap on my Wi-Fi network, put in the password, but then I also have to put in my MQTT server settings, because that's what's going to communicate with Home Assistant every time the doorbell is pressed, is it'll send out an MQTT signal that then can be tracked. And this also allows you to track the battery health and status as well. So you could set up in Home Assistant a status gauge for the battery on that to know if it's time to replace the battery. So with that, that's how you set this up here. And then after you're done, you click Save, and then you go on, and life should be good. Then you set up in Home Assistant. There's instructions all about how to do that on the Firefly Electronix website. I'm going to go ahead and install this, and I'll show you what it looks like on the other side with it all set up. So here's the final setup of the doorbell here. The first thing you'll notice is I ended up mounting the sensor above the doorbell. While it did fit inside the case, as you may have just seen, there was some issues of it, interfering with the chimes while inside the case. So I just moved it up and out of the way. It's not what I had hoped for, but it still works. Take the case off here. You can see where the white wires coming from the sensor go down into the doorbell, and then it sits basically in parallel with the other wires here, so it's on top of and sits there. It's parallel to the other wires in the box. Very simple setup here on the inside part here. So if you don't have to replace your doorbell, just simply place the sensor somewhere nearby and then just run the wires into your box and then just connect it, one to the transformer and then one, in this case here, to the front. I don't have a rear doorbell. And so it just goes there. No need for wire nuts or anything else. It just goes directly in there, and you're good to go. There's nothing else that lights up top there to be annoying wherever you have your doorbell placed in your house. And in my case, that goes back on, and that's the doorbell setup. So now let's take a look at how this is all set up in Home Assistant. So here's my setup in Home Assistant. You can see I've got a card over here called Doorbell. Very cleverly named, I know. So let's just start over here on the far right. We've got a battery indicator here that shows that the battery is at 3 volts. For the almost 8 months I've had this installed, it stayed almost consistently at the 3 volt threshold. If I ever see that drop below, that'll be an indicator that's probably time to change the battery. I'm not sure exactly how sensitive it is or what the increments that'll present itself in will be. But then I've got the setup so every time the doorbell rings, it records it here, and I can count just at a quick at a glance how many times it's been rung. If I hover over this here in Home Assistant, I can see today, specifically February 5th, the doorbell was rung at 1:45 p.m., which I think was the postman, and again at 6:08 p.m., which I think might have been the UPS guy. And so then from here in Home Assistant, this is just a jumping off point into all sorts of other forms of automation. If you want to connect it to other lights or other activations around your house to be able to provide other notifications. So if you're in your home office working and you can't have the doorbell sound go off, that you could see a light flash so that you would just know that there's someone at the door, or whatever other combinations of events that you want. Get a notification on your phone through the app. Even if you're not at home, you could still know that somebody's been at the house, or at least at your porch. And so really the options are pretty infinite for what you could do with this. So now let's go a little bit behind the scenes to a little bit more of the code that powers this. Now I'm in my configuration.yaml file, and there are 2 MQTT entries. I'm sorry these might appear a little out of order just based upon how I've got my file formatted. And so the most important piece here at the bottom is on line 245 for a binary sensor on the MQTT platform that has a status topic of doorbell sensor / status. And then I also had to add an off delay of 0.5 so it knows when to reset back to the off status rather than persistently staying in the on status after it's been rung. Depending upon your specific doorbell hardware, you may need to experiment with that value. For me specifically, 0.5 has worked well. And then farther up here on line 219, I have the status topic doorbell sensor / status / battery with a value template using a JSON value with a unit in volts, and that gives me the voltage coming off the unit. What's also important to know is the Wi-Fi status of this, at least in Ubiquiti Unify, is almost always invisible, that I can't see it, even though it has a static IP address, which I thought was important for me to assign to it. But because of it being almost ultra low power, it is almost never visible on the network or otherwise visible in my MQTT setup in Home Assistant. So a couple little quirks like that might fly a little bit under the radar if you're not paying attention to it, but otherwise it works flawlessly. So then from those other 2 entries, I was able to add a couple entries for platform history _stats, just to be able to track some basic statistics here for today, yesterday, weekly, and monthly. Obviously, the opportunities are infinite here. And like I said about how you can integrate this into other automation setups, your mind's the limit on what you want to do with that or how you want to make that happen. So one of the beautiful parts of this that I think is attractive is it allows me to use just an ordinary looking doorbell and add some brains to it so that it can be smarter than average. And then I can add a bunch of other magic behind the scenes to add some intelligence without adding what, in my opinion, are some gaudy looking doorbells. Now, obviously, there is some deterrence that is a positive deterrence related to those gaudy doorbells with the big old camera lens on the face of them that this does not provide. You've got to kind of pick and choose your battles for what you think makes sense for your specific situation. You can obviously also hide a camera up over the top of your door or somewhere else inconspicuous to also be able to pick up on other movement that you could also program to be able to save otherwise on your home security system. So lots of options, what you can do. Where you go from here, your mind is the limit. Use the other forums for other resources and details. And that's about it. Just thought I'd share this with you because I thought it was interesting and fun. Pretty simple to set up in Home Assistant. The options are infinite. And there you go. So if you like this kind of content, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And I'll see you back here soon on another video. Have a great day. Bye.